Welcome to our first online presentation. With the social changes brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, we all have to make changes and adapt to a new normal. Tonight's presentation will deal with a very real problem we all face. How can I protect my data, which has taken so long to accumulate? In order to solve a problem, we must first define the problem. So the first question is, what is an archive? The most common answer is that an archive is a collection of historical records. Your genealogy files certainly qualify as historical records. Many of you have been researching your family history and have been accumulating data for a very long time. And it is important to preserve your records. You certainly would like to leave a legacy for the family who will follow in your footsteps. Most importantly, you will want to preserve your research materials in case of a catastrophic computer failure. Computers are much more reliable today than they were a few years ago, but they still are vulnerable to breakdowns. So the question is, what options do I have? How can I back up my data to preserve it against loss due to computer failure? You really have options. First, you can make a backup on the cloud. Second, you can make a backup to another hard drive on your computer. Third, you can make copies of your paper documents and store them in a safe deposit box. And fourth, you can make copies of your digital files to a DVD or a flash drive and store them in a safe deposit box. While this last option may seem attractive at first glance, it is not really a practical solution because it would take a large number of DVDs, and flash drives also have a limited capacity, unless you are prepared to spend a large sum of money for a large industrial strength flash drive. So what is a personal cloud? One option that you have is a personal cloud. This consists of a device under your personal control that is used to store and share your files. This differs from a commercial cloud storage, which is controlled by an outside provider and is located at a remote site away from your direct control. You can make your own personal cloud with a purchase of a device called a Network Attached Storage, or NAS for short. An NAS device can be shared with other family members within your household whose computers are connected to your home network. The NAS device can also be set up to share the connection and the storage ability with family living somewhere else by using the internet. A NAS is a simple, cost-effective way to store and share a large amount of data. It is always under your control, and you decide who is allowed to access your data by setting up individual accounts and passwords for each family member. It is a reliable method and can save you a lot of money that would be spent on monthly fees for external providers. NAS devices come in a wide range of sizes and are priced accordingly. A mid-sized unit is usually 4 terabytes and sells for about $180. This illustration is of two setups. The one on the left is a typical setup on a home network where various computers share the storage unit locally. On the right is a setup on the internet where your home computers as well as external devices can access and share files from any location where internet service is available. The second option is to make a Windows backup to an external drive. If cost is a factor, you can make backups of your data to an external or even secondary internal hard drive on your computer. As you can see in this example, a 4 terabyte unit is considerably less expensive because you are not paying for the specialized software required to run an NAS device. Windows 10 provides a method for making automatic backups of all your data files. So how do I make a backup using Windows 10 software? The first step is to plug in your external device into a USB port on your machine. Next, click on the Start button located at bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Click on Settings. On the next screen that appears, click on Update and Security. On the next screen, click Backup. Then click Add a Drive. Your computer will search for a secondary drive and display it on a list. Select the external drive by clicking on the drive that appears in the drop box. Next, click on More Options. This will allow you to customize the backup frequency. Once you have set your schedule, click on Backup Now. For ultimate security, make a system image of your hard drive. It is of the most importance to make a system image of your hard drive. A system image is a complete copy of your entire hard drive, and it is essential for restoring your computer in case of a total system failure. When your hard drive fails, you will need to restore not only your data files, but also your system files and program files. A backup will only save your data files. You will need a system image to restore your expensive operating system. In the case of Windows 10, it's $199. Then you will need to restore all your programs, your genealogy software, your photo programs, your word processing programs, your email programs, your printer software. So how is it done? Click on Control Panel on your desktop. If you don't have a Control Panel icon on your desk, on your screen, you can type the word Control Panel in the search box at the lower left-hand corner of the screen and follow the directions on your screen. When the Control Panel opens, click on Backup and Restore. On the upper left-hand corner, you will see a button that says Create System Image. click on that button. The program will search for a backup drive. It is okay to use the same drive on which you backed up your data files, because the computer will automatically create a separate folder for the disk image. Then click OK and let the computer complete the process. After the process is finished, your computer will ask if you want to create a restore disk. Answer yes, and place a blank CD into your CD drive. The computer will write special files to the CD to be used in case of a complete system failure and you need to restore a new drive. You will use the special CD to boot up your computer in order to copy your image files to a new hard drive. You can also back up your genealogy data from your favorite program. Open your genealogy software and select File, then Save As. Rename your file to a different name. In my case, my file, I called it Cologne Family. The original file is named Sam Cologne. The program wants to give it a different name than the original. That's to keep it straight. In this example, I am saving it to the cloud, in this case Microsoft OneDrive. I could just as easily select an external drive as a backup device. Now, as I make additions to the original data file, I will make new backups to replace the old data. The key is to keep the same file name and allow the computer to overwrite or replace the old data with new data. Too many times I have seen people who make a backup of a backup of a backup of a backup because they fail to use the same data and just use the same name and just add new data. The third option, of course, is to use an outside provider. Cloud storage is a data transmission method where you transmit the data to a remote storage system, and it is maintained and managed for you and is made available to you or to other users over a network, typically the internet. The problem with this is that there is a cost associated with it. It is a monthly storage rate, and it will vary by the amount of data that you have. One thing you need to know before you select a data provider: security. That is the prime consideration. Many hackers have attacked the cloud providers because they can get more bang for their buck. Why go after a single computer when they can go after 1,000 computers that are on the cloud? Before you sign up, make sure you understand the terms of service. Ask questions. Ask questions about privacy. Ask questions about where your storage server is located. Many of them are located overseas. What laws govern the use of data? What happens if I cancel the service? How do I get my data back? Some providers, low-cost providers, will store their data in China, where it comes under confusing and conflicting laws. A better choice is to find a company which uses European countries because they are governed by strict privacy laws. For example, my email service is located in Switzerland, and my email is encrypted under the Swiss privacy laws. Another issue with privacy is the data encrypted, or can anyone see it? Can any of the employees have access to the data? Service providers typically incorporate data encryption and multi-factor authentication. They've also provided physical security for their servers. This means that their servers are under lock and key and only privileged employees have access to the servers. But a more important consideration is the financial strength of the provider. You wouldn't want your data to disappear if the service provider goes bankrupt. So here are examples of various cloud providers. Dropbox is a very popular one. The files are stored in secure servers, and they are located in the United States, Germany, Australia, Japan. Dropbox is intended for business users, but it is also available for individuals. You'll notice the pricing plans will vary. Be careful. Make sure that you understand completely how much data you have and how much per gigabyte or per megabyte is the cost. Google Drive is another very popular drive. It is best for teams who want to collaborate together. Google Drive has a lot of free storage capacity, and it's great for photos and documents and stories. You can also record videos and store them on Google. The security is that the data centers are located in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. Now, I am not sure if by Asia they mean China or one of the other countries, but this is something that you will have to investigate. The interface can be a little confusing, and for beginners, it can be a daunting experience. However, it is available for Windows, Mac, or Android. And the first 15 gigabytes are free. After that, the pricing plan will vary, and you need to investigate. Microsoft OneDrive. This is one of my favorites. I use Office 365, and I get a lot of free storage, 5 gigabytes. After that, 50 gigabytes is available for $1.99 a month. This is really cheap. The catch to this is that Office 365 is a subscription service which costs $99 a year. But you get 6 terabytes of storage, and you're allowed to use 6 users, 6 family members. That means each one will get 6 gigabytes of storage. With Office 365, those 6 family members can share the whole Office experience, which includes all of the Office applications, word processor, PowerPoint, the database. So all those applications are available for $99 a month, a year. If you want a single one user, it's $69, but it's only 1 terabyte of storage. Box is another very popular provider for cloud storage. Its data centers are in the US, in Europe, and Asia, and it allows you to store any type of file. As you can see, the varying price ranges here. These are 2 plans. They do have many more plans, and it's best to look into it, check, and compare. It can be a little more costly than others. iCloud. For all of the Apple users out there, iCloud is excellent because it's integrated into all of your Apple devices, and it is usable across all Apple providers and all Apple systems. The original data center is located in North Carolina, and beginning in 2011, iCloud partnered with Amazon and Microsoft to add additional storage capacity. Apple will encrypt the iOS files and then store them under the Amazon S3 service. It'll work with all of the Apple contact, calendar, mail, and even the smallest change that you make will be instantly accessible anywhere. The first 5 gigabytes are free, but then the price goes up depending on how many gigabytes you have. Amazon S3 is really a great service. The nice thing about Amazon is that its server, its main server, is located in San Francisco, along with 38 other facilities in Virginia, in Oregon, and in Europe, in Ireland, and in Germany, Luxembourg. Notice that there is nothing located in Asia. It's all within the European community or the USA. The only problem with Amazon is that its pricing is complex. It starts at 23 cents per gigabyte per month. Now this sounds cheap. In my case, my hard drive has 714 gigabytes of data. If I used their plan, it would cost me $164 a month. However, if you are a subscriber to MyHeritage and you have a family tree on MyHeritage, the cost to back up your entire family tree is $5 per month. That is a good service. It's a special deal between MyHeritage and Amazon. The problem: cost will go up substantially as your data grows. Your download speed is usually very slow. This means that if your hard drive fails and you want to make a backup, restore that backup back to a new drive, it could take from several hours to several days. Another problem is that the internet service provider will have a data cap which only allows a set number of megabytes to be downloaded for free. Then they will tack a surcharge on anything that's over the cap. In our area, AT&T, Cox Communications, CenturyLink, and HughesNet have data caps. Spectrum does not have a data cap. It's a story about one of our members who had a cloud provider for her data and her entire hard drive. Her hard drive eventually failed. She brought a new computer and then proceeded to download all of her files back to the new computer. It took 3 days to download everything. At the end of the month, she got a surprising huge bill from AT&T for all the extra data that went over the cap. Buyer beware.